Can you add a little to, because you know a lot about the brain and what's going on?
Yes and yes. I think one of the discs that you're going to copy, I think in 1998, I sat down with all the research papers on the brain and the body. You'll like this. I sat down for weeks with all the research papers on the brain and the body, and I, what we call in it, joined the dots. I joined the dots. This research paper went into this research paper, and I could put the two together, and then I could put three together, and I did a big diagram showing that if you affect one part of the brain, how all of the other parts and what they do will also be affected, and you've got that in a big diagram.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah. And then I went into the body and I said, well, if the brain is affected and it goes to the hypothalamus and then it goes into the spine, now we're looking at all the exits from the spine, and I looked at the same with all the other papers coming down through the body. So in fact the drawing I've given you there in those, on those discs, of the brain and the body, you could put the two together. In fact you could even do it if you wanted to copy it and do a big, everything I write is copyright free, everything. You could copy it, do it neatly and put it on the diagram of a body if you wanted to. And say, here you are, this is what's happening inside your body. But I've done everything right the way from the head to the toes, and it's on two big diagrams, and you can put them onto A4 or whatever, and just use them. You can sell them if you want to. Makes no difference to me.
Yeah, we just have to get it out.
Yeah, but you can do a big diagram and just maybe a big one and video it on a body, on a sort of an outline of a body. Just video it. For people to look at.
Or we can find a woman that wants to be body painted, and then we can write it on her body and everything. They will like that.
A lot of words there.
Yeah.
But I think I probably referenced 60 up-to-date papers at the time.
Yeah. And you know, when we talk about coherent thinking, in reference to what you just said, you know, when I burned out in 2002 completely. I had two deck phones on my desk. I had two big Sony screens, you know, the use. So I had a lot of electromagnetic fields going on in front of me. And I burned completely out. I didn't know why, because I was not stressed, but then I found out the pulses and all this. And often I say to people, because they say, oh, I need proof for this and this, and I say, well, you have the proof inside. You just have to feel inside and listen to yourself. Because when someone presents something for me, and they say, well, they say that this is not safe, I'll say, well, okay, where can I find out about that? And I will look into that, and then I'll ask myself, well, if there's just a tiny risk that this might not be very safe, I don't use it, I don't eat it. You know, I don't need to study 100 papers to convince myself. We always have to listen to ourselves if we can.
There is proof, actually. Apart from all the scientific documents and the government saying this causes cancer, there is proof. There are, to date, to my knowledge, 5 High Court cases which have been brought by unions, which have proved that mobile phones cause brain tumour and that cell towers cause microwave sickness, leukemia and cancer. There is proof, and it's on the documents you've got. There are 5 High Court cases, all within Europe. European High Court judges have found the industry to cause cancer. So 5. There are 19 other legal judgments, not High Court, a magistrate, a mayor, somebody saying this has caused this, take it down. There are 19 of those, so there are 24 legal judgments against the industry, and there are 14 epidemiological studies proving they cause cancer. So you've got 14 studies and 24 legal judgments, which is 38 documents proving it.
But that's not enough, you know. How as a that's also where I talk about people must be controlled or programmed or just disconnected, because even though you come with the proof, they say, no, this is not good enough for me. And I tell people, well, I'm not a scientist. I use my intuition, my feeling, and my common sense. And most people cannot read scientific documents, so they have they have to listen to people like you and Ole Johansen and others who are really sincere and have an ethical backbone. You know, that's the whole.
I can remember when I was 5, I can remember my teacher coming into my classroom, smoking a pipe, sitting down, saying, we had a king then, saying the king has just encouraged everybody to have smoking parties. So when you grow up, we want you to have smoking parties like the king has. And the only sweets at the end of the war that we could find in sweet shops were sweet cigarettes from the cigarette industry, sugar. They were white sugar sticks with a red end, and as children, 5 and 6 years old, we could pretend we were smoking and have smoking parties, which the king told us to do. And the teachers smoked in the classrooms, and that went right on until 70s, 80s, 40 years. And they knew then what tobacco did. And it's the same, governments do cover up things. They covered up cholera, they covered up smoking. There are lots of things governments cover up because it's more convenient to let people suffer. It saves them money. In fact, a brilliant paper was written by the lady who, Alison somebody, or Miss Alison, who found out, because I didn't know this at the time, but pregnant women were x-rayed, and she found the x-rays were causing damage, and the government denied it for 20 years. And it took her 20 years to get the governments to agree that x-raying the fetus caused damage. So they will cover things up for many, many years, decades, the governments.
And then they switch government, of course, and
they switch government, switch people,
and then no one has responsibility. So
well, this is it. There is no responsibility.
No.
There's no responsibility for this, because if there's a triangle, the industry have a permit to make these things and put them out by the government.
Yeah.
The government ask the government scientists, and they say you will not get too warm, you can use it. So you have the government scientists who are asked by the industry only to look at heat, and the government only to look at heat. So you end up in a triangle, and they will pass you from one to the other until you get fed up. But you cannot penetrate that ring.
No. The silent weapons for a quiet war, that was a document found in a photocopier in '86. That really is a document from the so-called elite, what they're doing.
Yeah.
But what I've been, with the microwave detector, from London company, it's just so interesting to measure when you are in an electrosmog field or when you are outside in nature, because you can really hear the difference and feel the difference also.
Yeah. Sensory perspectives, it's called,
But on page 10, where it just sums up what it all says, it talks about the vitality, the document here. I said people are losing vitality, energy and health. We see that all over. Options, people are being told what to do, they're being told what to think. Is it information warfare, you can say? Mobility. People don't seem very mobile today, though they have a mobile. They actually seem like they are immobile. And manipulation, well, the wireless society manipulates on all levels. That you have confirmed for 2 days now. And then we have the physical, of course, we have all the physical illnesses, we have the mental illnesses,
Yep.
we have all the emotional problems. You talked about the hormonal systems in
Yep.
women. Actually, when we talk about women, and this is not to be sexist as well, because I find women very attractive and have so much to give. Normally they have so much love to give.
Yeah.
But what I see with the radiation coming up and going up everywhere is that the hormones must be in total chaos.
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
the reactions are so strange.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. We are changing the behaviour of countries with this. This industry is changing the behaviour of countries. And that's all we need to say about this. It is changing the behaviour.
Yeah.